Boy, where you been? It's TeeJay the artist. You rocking with me. You are the smartest. And we back with another video, man. We got Jimmy High Roller. You know when Jimmy High Roller drop a video, it's gonna be fire. Are NBA players today actually better than players of the past? Let's see what he got to say. You know he gonna bring the facts. He gonna bring the stats. He gonna bring the everything. And we gonna see. Are players today better than players in the past? Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's get straight into it. Could you turn me up in the headphones a little bit?
With the NBA season a third of the way through, we can now.
Oh my God! You gonna start off like that?
This season is playing out, and if what we've seen so far is any indication of what's to come, we are in the midst of the biggest talent boom in NBA history. From top to bottom, the league is flooded with players who can go and get 30, 40 any given night. Rotational guys dropping triple doubles, and the superstars of the league all simultaneously shattering records. Take a look at the current MVP race, and it resembles something closer to an all-time ranking than an MVP leaderboard. 29, 12, and 11, 33, 5, and 6, 35, 8, and 8, 29, 6, and 10, 31, 4, and 7, 28, 9, and 6. Not only are all of these guys having MVP caliber seasons, they're all having historically great seasons. In fact, their numbers are so good, it has led some fans to question the very validity of stats in the NBA today. That these numbers aren't a direct result of how good these players are, but a result of stat inflation. A symptom of today's faster pace and offensively favorable rules, and how these stats are being interpreted.
Okay. My first thing is this: the whole part of, oh, there's no defense in the league, there's no defense. I believe that there is defense. You got to sit and watch a game. It's just the fact that the pace, bro. The pace is so fast that it's pace, and they call fouls for everything. So you can say there's no defense, but I can't say that. There's a lot of good defenders, bro.
Among NBA fans,
there's some things that the offense is just so good. See, there's the fact there's the defense. Offense has gotten so good that it doesn't matter what you do sometimes. It just doesn't matter. Second, the pace is fast. People be dropping 30, but they be taking 25 shots to get there. Then they be calling fouls for everything. So the scores at the end, you just see, 130 to 125. You're like, dang, ain't nobody. What the defense at? It was out there. But they don't give them anything. What happened? Oh, I muted it. Here we go.
And offensively favorable rules, and how these stats are being interpreted has created a divide among NBA fans. Are the players of today actually better than players of the past? Or are they simply beneficiaries of a league catered for bigger numbers?
All right, we're finna find out. I believe
today's video 5 bonus in which
I believe that the game is more skilled now than back then. I think back then also, when somebody was getting off, somebody got 20 points, they didn't play better defense. They just fouled the hell out of them. They just tried to scare them. Like, that's not defense. That's just, you know what I'm saying? You just beating somebody up. Oh, you got 20. But then that was only a couple teams that did that. Not every team did that. But yeah, like
100 points.
Let's see.
This used to mean something. A scoring threshold that once happened infrequent enough that it was worthy of a small prize for everyone involved.
That's a fact.
Seeing triple digits on the scoreboard was once a treat, warrant of a celebration, and the alternative happened far more often. But today, this is not the case. 100 points is a drop in the bucket. Teams are hitting triple digits in the third quarter. Games ending with scores in the 130s, 140s more often than under 100. And as these point totals have ballooned at an unprecedented rate, so has everything else. 30 points is the new 20 points. Tune in on any given night, and there's a great chance you'll see someone drop 40. And it's not just scoring. The entire box score has inflated to levels we've never seen. From points to rebounds and assists, even efficiency. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is putting up prime Jordan numbers. Giannis is putting up prime Shaq numbers. Luka Doncic, well, no one's ever done what Luka's doing.
He putting up Luka numbers, nigga.
A 30-point triple-double right now, and it's starting to feel very normal. Either the best players in the NBA today are truly basketball-defining, all-time great, record-breaking talents better than anything that came before them, or there has been an inflation of stats that has completely skewed how we perceive the dominance of players today and the impact they are having from night to night. Or both of these options are true at the same time. The trend of bigger stat lines didn't begin overnight. It has been slowly inching up for about a decade now. The stat line of 25, 5, and 5 was at one point such a difficult stat line to average that it was achieved just 7 times throughout the entire decade of the 90s. 5 of those 7 seasons were Michael Jordan. Throughout the 2000s, the pool of players to hit this threshold jumped to 18. By the mid-2010s, pace began to increase around the league, heliocentric offenses began to take over, and the 25, 5, and 5 stat line was no longer a rarity, as 30 individual seasons met this threshold. And then the 2020s began, where 25, 5, and 5 has become an afterthought. Not even
oh my God.
We are in the 7th season of the decade, and there have already been 50 individual seasons where players have averaged the once extremely rare stat line. As many 25, 5, and 5 seasons in the last 3 years alone as there were in the entire 90s.
Ron gets on my nerves. 05, 06, 07. 08, 09, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Of course, he's not doing it right now, but that is insane, bro. Goodness, bro.
And 2000s combined. And you really don't have to go back very far to see this inflation play out. Back in 2011, Kevin Durant won his second straight scoring title, averaging a league-leading 27.7 points per game. One of just 7 players to average at least 25 a game that season. But this season, Durant's 27.7 a game would have him ranked 10th
oh
in the
my
league
gosh.
in scoring. We aren't talking.
Shout out to Austin Reeves. Shout out to Austin Reeves. This is crazy, bro. This is insane, bro.
About the 80s or 90s or even 2000s. This was just in the last decade. Go back far enough into NBA history and fans will begin to put an air attacks on players who played in a weaker league throughout the 60s, 70s, and some fans go as far as the 80s. But now the opposite effect is beginning to happen. Fans are now putting an air attacks on today's players for playing in a league with inflated stats. Now, the problem isn't simply the fact that modern players are putting up bigger numbers. It's that these bigger numbers are being used without enough context to make arguments for modern players over players of the past. As the numbers continue to get bigger, what was once seen as impressive or even historic begins to hold less and less value. In 1998, during his last season with the Bulls, Michael Jordan averaged 29 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists a night on 53% true shooting. It wasn't his most impressive season statistically, but it was more than enough to earn him a scoring title, All-NBA First Team, and a league MVP. Fast forward nearly 30 years, and there's a player with a similar stat line
Austin Reeves,
in the NBA
ain't it?
today. 28, 6, and 7 a game on 66% true shooting. Numbers that are arguably better
Austin Reeves,
than
ain't it?
MVP Jordan. But this isn't Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's not Luka
Austin
or
Reeves.
Anthony Edwards. It's Austin Reeves.
All right, who better? All right, who better, bro? MVP Jordan or 2026 Austin Reeves? Who better? Who you got? Who you got? I mean, if Austin Reeves win a ring this hey, bro, this is a graphic. I did not know I was going to see this graphic today. This is a graphic for your ass. Wow.
A second option who is currently putting up a better box score than the best player in the world.
This is a
less than
graphic.
30 years ago. But it doesn't take a basketball savant to know Austin Reeves is not as productive, impactful, or as good as Michael Jordan was.
But this the thing. If you were a Jordan hater, you can screenshot this. Matter of fact, I'm gonna move out the way so the Jordan haters can screenshot this real quick. Hold on. Jordan haters, y'all can use that right there. Y'all can use that one. Y'all can use that screenshot. Go to Jimmy Hot. If you can get a screenshot, use this one right here and then put that in the put that in the group. See what people say about that.
And yet, without enough context, some people could, and unfortunately some people have, made this argument in favor of modern players.
See?
Stats throughout the NBA today are in fact a bit inflated compared to the past. But what exactly is causing this inflation? And are these numbers a true reflection of the impact players are making? The game today is undoubtedly faster than it was in the past, specifically 15, 20 years ago. If we look at the average number of possessions per game over the last 3 decades, the pace of games around the league has increased drastically over the last 20 years, from just 90 possessions a game in 2006 to 100 possessions today. This valley right here, known as the dead ball era, where games would regularly end with teams scoring under 90 points.
Okay.
If we want to talk about taxing an era, it's these players here who really got the short end of the stick when it comes to the box score. They essentially played less basketball than any other era in NBA history. But faster pace doesn't exactly explain the increase in output that we're seeing around the league today. If we level out the pace and look at how many points teams are generating per 100 possessions, then scoring today is still way up from where it was in the past. From 1997 clear up until about 2016, teams around the league scored about 105 points per 100 possessions. Today, that number is up 10% to 116 points per 100 possessions. So even considering the pace of play, teams today are scoring the ball and generating more offense than they ever have. If we look at some of the absurd numbers from top players around the league this season and adjust their numbers to a more
These
modest
numbers
pace,
is crazy, bro.
like what we used to see in the 2000s and early 2010s, well, then their numbers come down a bit, but they're still absurd. Shea and Maxey are still averaging 30. Luka is still averaging 32, 8, and 8. And
So he tried to adjust it to slower pace, but they numbers is still crazy, bruh.
Jokic still has a 30-point triple-double. As nice as it would be to just explain all of this away with pace, the speed at which games are played today is not as big of a factor as it is said to be. So what exactly are the other factors? The league has very slowly, very deliberately nudged teams and players in the direction of more offense for the past few decades. Look back through the history of rule changes, and there's a very clear pattern. In the 80s, the NBA added the three-point line.
In the 80s, 3-point line, zone defense rules clarified new rules for illegal defense alignments. 24-second shot clock is reset only when the ball hits the rim. 3-point line is shortened. Hand checking eliminated. Clear path rule change to include contact in the backcourt. NBA form acknowledges the Euro step in 95. No contact, either hands or forearms by defenders except in the front court. That was in 2002. The rules.
The 90s, they cracked down on hand checking and implemented new
there's
rules
more.
to attempt to
Defender may not use his forearm to reroute an offensive player, so you got to guard like without touching them.
Speed up the game. In the early 2000s, they added defensive 3 seconds, cut the time to cross half.
Slowing or impeding the progress of the screener is prohibited. This is 3 seconds rule implemented in 2002. There was no 3-second rule. What defensive 3 seconds? Oh, so people before 2002 they could just plant themselves in the middle of the lane and you ain't got to move.
Checking virtually all together. And
the time that a team has to advance the ball past midcourt reduced 10 seconds to 8 seconds.
Implemented freedom of movement rules.
Yeah, all this is for the offense, because if there was still a way to just if there was no 3-second rule for defense, it'll just be big Shaq centers planting themselves in the middle of the lane, bro. Guidelines on carrying and palming the ball are loosened, allowing people to carry in 2004.
Essentially,
put their hand under that ball and cross over.
They outlawed all the bumping and
new rules were introduced to curtail hand checking and clarify blocking
rerouting that used to happen on every
players
possession.
are formally allowed 2 steps after control of the ball. NBA acknowledges and allows 0 step. What the hell is a 0 step? Huh? Now I gotta look at what I ain't never heard that one before. 0 step basketball.
A step is basically once a foot hits, not once a foot is already down. So that's basically what your 0 step is. If you have your dribble going, you pick it up and this foot is already down, that is a 0 or a gather step. However, if I'm like in midair, gather, and then this foot lands, that's not a 0 step because I gathered before the foot landed. A step is basically once a foot hits. hits, not once a foot is already down. So that's basically what your zero step is. If you have your dribble going, you pick it up and this foot is already down, that is a zero or a gather step. However, if I'm like in mid-air, gather, and then this foot lands, that's not a zero step because I gathered before the foot landed. Step.
I didn't learn anything.
First move is defender to back up. Fake the attack of the high foot. Cross over into your zero step 1-2 into a floating runner. First move is defender to back up. Fake the attack of the high foot. Cross over into your zero step 1-2 into a floating runner.
Okay, I get it now. All right, I get it now. Let's get back to these rules. This is crazy.
The league's interpretation of dribbling rules was heavily loosened. Players could now get away with a lot more with the ball in their hands.
That is
and the
true.
Creativity and depth of skill set began to explode.
And it's going
the NBA
once you implement a rule, it's going to be hard to can't revert that.
Has always been a fast-paced run-and-gun league, and anytime it began to slow down, the league manufactured ways to speed it back up, even going as far as changing the very landscape of the court to incentivize players to shoot shots they typically wouldn't. Or in cases that we see today, allowing players to get away with movements and exploits that are very explicitly prohibited, or at least they're supposed to be. In reality, the NBA has always wanted more offense, and so it should be no surprise that players are producing more offense. Another often cited reason for the explosion of production in the NBA today is the prevalence of heliocentric basketball, the concept of an offensive system built around one player. In the NBA today, superstars around the league get more touches than ever, they get to make more decisions than ever, and as a result, their numbers get an inherent boost due to their highly ball-dominant style of play. Put the ball in the hands of your best player regardless of circumstance or situation. And although this play style is slowly dying out with teams like the Thunder, Celtics, and Spurs bringing back team-oriented ball, the stars of the league are still perceived as beneficiaries of this philosophy. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the definition of a power forward, and yet he regularly brings the ball up the court. He's averaging 6 assists a night, assist numbers that were almost unheard of from a rim-running big man in past eras, and a testament to his elite playmaking ability. But these assists aren't coming off of in-and-out reads or remarkable passing. They are coming directly from him diving downhill, collapsing defenses, and kicking out to open shooters. Compared to players of a similar skill set in the past, Giannis has the benefit of simply having the ball more and having the opportunity to initiate the offense. Nikola Jokic is a center, and yet he has the green light to be the Nuggets' point guard whenever he sees fit. Luka Doncic has so much freedom on offense, the league doesn't even know what position he plays. On any given possession, the play may very well begin and end with him. Ultimately, he gets to decide how and where he's utilized whenever he's on the court. Players today simply have more freedom to indulge in their abilities and capitalize on their skill sets, and this extra freedom has created better opportunities for these stars on offense. If we look at the usage of the top 20 players in the league season by season over the last 30 years, the growth of offensive burden for these stars lines up with the growth in their box score. Usage crept up from the 90s to the 2000s as MJ's departure from the league brought on a new era of hero ball. Usage then plateaued for a bit with the introduction of the super team era, and then immediately jumped again as heliocentric offenses became a...
By the way, super team era was 2008. It started right here in 2008. I just want to put that out there.
Common strategy around the league, and it continues to climb to this day. More touches, more shots, more opportunities, bigger numbers. And although this may explain the increase in numbers for the stars, even the players who aren't benefiting from this style of offense, bench guys, role players, their numbers have also climbed to unprecedented levels, which means there's still one factor,
Desmond Bain,
and it is the one variable that sets today's players apart from any other era in NBA history: efficiency. Aside from just the pace of play and the change in play style, the biggest reason why scoring and overall output has increased is because efficiency has increased. Across the board, shooting percentage has jumped considerably and consistently over the last 3 decades. From field goal percentage to true shooting percentage to even the most objective measure of shooting accuracy, free throw percentage. Even when given the same number of scoring opportunities, players today are capitalizing on those opportunities
to that line
more often. So not only has the pace of the game increased, at the same time, players and teams have become more accurate shooters and scorers. For many years, the gold standard for efficient volume scoring was 60% true shooting. If you could average 20 a game on this kind of efficiency, you were as lethal as it gets in the NBA. In fact, there have been many seasons where not a single player in the league hit this threshold. That, however, is not the case today. As this season,
somebody always gonna hit
27 volume scorers who have a true shooting percentage of at least 60%. Part of this is because there are simply more players averaging 20 a game. But the underlying theme...
I don't know ball, y'all. Who is Denny Avdia? Denny Avdia
persists.
Who
Over
is that?
time, players have gotten extremely good at putting the ball in the hoop.
Jeremy Grant,
Not just in terms of volume,
Jalen Johnson,
but in accuracy. The
Laurie Markkinen, Benedict
real question then
Mathurin.
becomes,
I'm just naming the
why
Trey Murphy the
they
third.
are
I'm not naming the usual
players more
suspects.
efficient today
Norman
than they were in the
Powell,
past.
Austin
And the
Reeves,
answer, again, isn't
Franz Wagner.
as simple as it seems. Part of the reason why players today are more efficient at scoring the ball is because they are, in fact, more skilled. Players and teams around the league have taken what works from those that came before them, tweaked the formula, and improved on their methods. As outside shooting has become a larger part of emphasis in the NBA today, modern players have spent more time and effort getting good at that part of the game. Teams also understand and exploit certain advantages more now than they have before. One simple but revolutionary shift teams made was their emphasis on three-pointers. Get good enough at them and you can score more points faster than before with greater efficiency by leveraging the statistical advantage of the three-pointer. This shift didn't just change the points on the board, it changed the very geometry of the game and what skill sets are valuable. Not only are players better at shooting the ball now, but smarter, more complex offenses now set players up for better, more open looks. Thanks to tracking data and advanced metrics, organizations around the league can now pinpoint exactly where the best shots are and how to get those shots more often. If someone had convinced KG to just take one step back on all of his long twos,
Yeah, he
his
shot
numbers
long
would probably
twos.
have looked a lot
KG used to shoot a bunch of long twos, bro.
better, and his efficiency would have naturally
He the long
increased.
two king.
As teams got smarter, shot selection got better. Threes and layups have taken over the shot diet of players around the league, and scoring numbers not only went up, but they got significantly more efficient. Pair this better understanding of where the advantages lie with about 10 extra possessions a game, and you've got a recipe for larger scoring numbers both for teams and individual players. As Bill Simmons once said, the math of the game changed to favor the box score. Some would call this evolution. Others may call it optimization. Take what works, double down on it, get rid of what doesn't work. 20 years ago, the Phoenix Suns were reinventing offense under Mike D'Antoni and breaking records with their volume and pace. First in the league in points per game, three-point attempt rate, three-point percentage, true shooting percentage, and just about every other offensive metric. They were far and away the best offensive team in the league. And yet, compared to today's standards, the 06 Phoenix Suns were sluggish, inefficient. Look at a shot map from that 06 Suns team, and you can see exactly how teams approached offense in an era that featured the lowest point totals in NBA history. Despite their best spots on the court being near the rim and from beyond three, the Suns attempted the majority of their shots in here, somewhere in between. From beyond the three-point line, they scored 1.2 points per shot, the best three-point shooting team in the NBA. From within 6 feet, they scored 1.25 points per shot, and everywhere else, they scored just 0.85 points per shot. Now, why did the Suns shoot so many shots from areas on the court where they were least efficient? Well, at the time, they weren't. That season, the Phoenix Suns shot more threes than any team in NBA history. They thought they were shooting a lot of high percentage shots. Fast forward 20 years, and we now know you can take this concept a whole lot further. Compare the 06 Suns to the best offense in the league today, the Denver Nuggets, and you'll see not just how the game has changed, but the effects of those changes. In 2006, the Suns scored 106.4 points per game. This season, the Nuggets scored 125 points per game. But I want you to take notice of a few different metrics here, like pace. The Suns had a pace of 95.8 possessions per game, which isn't too far off from this year's Nuggets with 98.9 possessions per game. Even when you adjust these teams to the same exact pace, the Nuggets are scoring 125.9 points per 100 possessions to the Suns' 111.5, despite having the same exact efficiency both near the rim and from outside. So where are all of these extra points coming from? Well,
free throws.
From near the rim and outside. After further investigation, the league realized that these shots here in between are just not worth the hassle. They literally aren't worth as much as other shots. In 2006, the Suns, a revolutionary offense, shot 40% of their shots from this in-between area. This year, the Nuggets only shoot 19% of their shots from this area. The NBA has game theoried its way to the most productive, most efficient
dunks or threes
version of basketball. Steve Nash was one of the greatest shooters in NBA history, shot nearly 45% from three for nearly a decade, and yet he only attempted 3 to 4 three-pointers a game. Why? Well, because they just didn't know any better.
We played a style that was thought to be revolutionary at the time, but really we should have doubled down. And Mike said this before, we should have played faster, we should have played smaller, we should have shot way more threes. We were just playing a style that suited our roster, suited our personnel. It was foreshadowing for the future. I think I was too conservative shooting the ball. Like I should have walked into way more threes. I should have looked for more threes, but I didn't come out like guns blazing, try to, get 20 in the first half, because I didn't think that would do my team any favors. Now we know numerically it just makes way too much sense and not enough sense. And the game wasn't ready for that yet.
Right.
We didn't value the analytics. We probably weren't even, analyzing things to the extent we are now, or even
analytics wasn't a thing back then.
2 or 3 years after 2007.
Analytics wasn't a thing back then.
More than personnel, more than pace. How teams are approaching offense and the extent to which they understand the value of each shot and how to get those shots is by far the largest contributor to the inflation of numbers we see today. Not only have players leveraged the knowledge and skills of those that came before them to become better players, teams around the league have leveraged and systems of teams that came before them to create offenses tailor-made for these new, improved players. The evolution of the NBA isn't necessarily in the talent itself, it's how the talent is utilized. Nikola Jokic is a generational player, and he also plays in a system that allows him to maximize all of his abilities. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter ever, but he also plays in an era that allowed him to reach his potential. Luka Doncic is one of the most versatile offensive engines the game has ever seen, and he also plays in a league that allows him to be a point guard, or a shooting guard, or a small forward on any given possession. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is putting up prime Michael Jordan numbers. He really is that good, but he also plays in the smartest, most efficient, cerebral era in the NBA's history, primed for the next Michael Jordan. Are the numbers we see in the NBA today a symptom of stat inflation, or have the players simply gotten better? Well, it's both. The math has changed the game, but the players have changed too.
I say, yeah, man. Another good one from Jimmy High Roller. He never fails, bro. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace.